Alright, I'm going to do a general reading for the sign of Taurus. Rising, sun, moon, or any placements you might have. Also, you could check your progressed chart, see if you have any progressions in Taurus, then this may be applicable for you. So I'm going to start with a tarot reading using the Mythic tarot from Greene. I'm going to do a 9-card spread with the bottom card and then a cut card. See what kind of messages we can pull out of that. And then we're going to analyze the transit for today, August 16th, in this Leo New Moon. Just happened earlier this morning. So I am a Taurus Sun, Mercury Chiron, and we're going to begin the reading now. I'm going to lay the cards out first, and then we will get into it. Interesting. So the first card out is Ace of Cups here. That's a big cup she's holding. But what's beneath her, what's behind her is even bigger. Actually, all around her is even bigger. Look at that. The ocean of potential. From the depths of the emotions to the heights of the imagination. This golden cup here, the physical form of the potential of the wellspring housing all the emotions, producing all the emotions. So realizations of the cultivation of the self, bringing forward a wellspring of your emotions. Next card out is Justice. So Justice here. Right hand, the sword of truth. Left hand is the scales of justice, of balance. Beneath her feet is the checkered floor of contrast, polarities, potentials, the dark, the light, the ebb and flow, the peaks and valleys. On the left shoulder we see the snow owl here. This is wisdom. We will get into the chart later, but it's reminding me of Pallas Athena here. The power of perception and balancing that power through true value. What has been the cultivation of self in the process of life. Next we have the Eight of Cups here. Walking away from that which no longer serves, that which no longer quenches the thirst. You see the ocean underneath the moon back there. She's walking away from all that, seeking the next phase, the next evolution, the next expression of emotions, which in this case leads to contentment. She's moving towards the Nine of Cups. But let's see how this unfolds. You can see the 8 cups behind her is beautifully arranged. It is almost as if it's a pyramid, a structure of emotion which no longer serves. Perhaps we're walking into the cave of the self, waking up the sleeping lion, very accordingly with these times. It's very apropos, Leo New Moon today. Awakening the sleeping lion in the cave of self, remembering the strength, the dignity, the power, and the prestige of everything that the Spirit stands for, everything that the pure expression of an authentic being stands for. The cultivation of your heritage. Next we have the Seven of Cups here. We can see this maiden, she's sitting on a rock amongst the ocean of emotion. She's praying for a sign, looking to the goddess, looking to Spirit to help choose. All these choices caught up in the clouds, the imagination, the illusions, the delusions. Sometimes we get so far away from our foundations, we get pulled into our emotions, and we're not quite sure if what we're looking for, what we're trying to create, what we're trying to cultivate, what we're trying to establish in relation to ourselves, in relation to others in this world, we're unsure whether or not it's true. Because we're too caught up in the loops, we're too caught up in externalizing our power, externalizing our value into others, into systems, into dynamics. A lot of times the dynamics, these relationships, they lead us to the wounds within ourselves. Sometimes we pull the wounds out of people so that they can play the game with us and they can show us the physical manifestation of something we have felt deep within ourselves. In this depiction, we've got a guy taking a bath in a tomb, dead. He's in a coffin, sarcophagi. We've got a man and a woman stabbing the heart, and the third sword is in the imagination, in the clouds, in the illusions and the delusions of past experience, beyond the gates. A lot of people, they hurt us in life, but it is because we have the wound within us with which they ping when they come in relation. And on that subtle level, on that subconscious level, we express this wound. And that's how some people resonate with us. And sometimes when you are trying to process the wound of yourself, other people will give you the reminders. They will step into that role to help you to realize what it is you're trying to heal. Next we have Seven of Swords. There's a lot of mental energy here. So in this depiction you can see to the right there's rubble of past foundation. To the left it's a structure, a wall. Perhaps it's a castle. Perhaps it is the outside of the cave of the self. The structure with which we keep all things out through mental activity. You can see the back is to the moon. But what happens when we turn our back to our emotions is we just follow the shadow. We follow our shadows into relationship. We follow our shadows into where we're going. And so we carry these swords so they cannot be used against us. And over time we get tired of carrying those swords and we might drop them. We may donate them. We may forge them into one sword. In that process, in all processes, we have this underlying energy of the hanged man. Sometimes we feel bound to the truth of old convictions, to a foundation that was given to us, programmed into us when we were young. And we see the world in an unnatural way, a way with which we've had to learn. This depiction also reminds me of Prometheus. You can see behind that hawk is a sun. It's the light of your truth. It's not easy to see or hold the truth, but with enough conviction, enough time, and enough effort, you can pull yourself up, straighten the world out, through standing in your truth, through seeing the world through the hawk's eyes, through a higher vision. And in this way we step into our power, into our truth. The Hierophant, this is the card of Taurus. It's a Chironic king throwing up the Dio symbol, holding the scroll, the sacred teaching. It's in a language we could only understand through the experiences of life. For if you read it, it would only be words on paper, an exercise in memorization. Perhaps when we drop the swords and we enter the cave of the self, we meet with the wisdom, the teacher within us, the process, the cultivation of the self. And when you come to these times in life where you've removed, released, dropped, transformed illusions of the past into new dynamics, you feel into the polarity of Libra, into the polarity of justice, the Aries point, the Fool. The culmination of expression in form of the Alpha Omega. The beginning and the end of all elements in life. The potential. And a pure spirit rises up through us in these times in order to bring us to these realizations so that we have the fire, the strength, the conviction, the perspective, the realization, and the feeling as an awareness that brings about sudden change, realizations. Now the Tower card here, I like Uranus as the Tower card, at least in these times, and at least in this reading, because Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is Prometheus, essentially. It brings the light. It brings higher mind to realization. As form crumbles, spirit rises. And so, through the emotional depths, the star pours the starlight waters into us, and through our emotions, new awareness arises as idea, as thought. So these are highly transformative times. I can relate with this. I feel we all can on many levels. But these are just words. Seek the symbology of your life. Feel into your emotions. Feel into what is true, what isn't true. Take the time out to sit in silence in nature. Maybe at the park, go for a walk. Let the world speak to you. Have a loose idea of where you're going, but let the signs point the way and see what happens. Alright, so let's do this now. Now let's look at the chart for today. So I pulled up a chart, Taurus rising, but if you have any Taurus placements, this can be applicable for you. Now, if I'm doing a reading for an individual, I use Porphyry house system, but for the sake of simplicity and ease of getting everything in the proper dynamics to break this down in a general analysis, I've got this divided into whole sign house system. Now this is Western tropical astrology. For me personally, I resonate with Western tropical. It's more in line with the here now geocentric perspective of where my psyche's at and where it's going. Alright, so for Taurus, Libra is our chart ruler, it's our sun ruler, moon ruler, wherever you got it. Libra has the south node now. Aries has the north node, and that just switched. Taurus had the north node for a while, Scorpio had the south node. So Mars, Venus, these dynamics are very big for us, especially the Taurians. And we've had Venus retrograde for a while now, and she started her retrograde with an 11-day station in a Yod, finger of God, with Neptune in the south node. It's the south node passed over 0 point Scorpio into Libra. So let's talk about the new moon that happened earlier today. Ignore this moon in Virgo right now. A few hours ago it was at 2350 of Leo. So new moons, it's a new energy, it's a new emotional awareness. For this new moon, it was passion. It's a new understanding of your emotional awareness through passion. Rebirthing of passion. You may feel tired at this time. I know I do. You may be, some of us might have a boost of energy, but it's affecting physicality for Taurus, Scorpio. It's also affecting our realization of self in relation with others and in relation to the self. So we are reawakening the child within, and we're in the process of rewilding the child within us. And let's see here. I just want to tweak this thing. There we go. Alright, so rewilding the child within. Now we've had the new moon at 23 degrees Leo. And we had Venus in a balsamic phase conjunction to the new moon, though she's in retrograde form. We also have Black Moon Lilith in a new phase conjunction to this new moon. So Venus retrograde, we're rehashing out the value that we have been brought up through. The value that we found in the love of the self, in the love of our families, in the love of our traditions, and in the love of others. How we expressed that, how we repressed that, how we had compromised the truth of our feelings for other people and other situations, for teachings, for expectations, for honor, for duty, for obligation. So we're coming into rewilding the truth of who we are and the purity of ourself and bringing that forward in a way which is in relation here, this trine to the North Node in Aries, in relation to a healing of our authentic expression. When we're young, when we're first brought up in this world, we have a sense. And as time flows on, the layers of the river grow, and then we're beneath all this emotion. And it's hard to get to the truth of where we are because there's no place for it in this world, in our relations, in our dynamics with others. We have to swim through that and cultivate the self in the process. And it is a natural expression, it's a beautiful thing, and it isn't easy. So with this Venus retrograde, Venus will be going direct in a week or two. She'll be stationing at 12 degrees Leo on the north node of Neptune before she progresses through the shadow path. Now with Black Moon Lilith here in the new phase conjunction, this is the repression of the feminine. This is the anima within us. This is the wisdom we've had to repress in order to get along with others. It is the power of our perception with which we have had to subdue because other people couldn't handle it and they couldn't accept it within themselves. We're seeing in the world where this is waking up and people are finding places where they can channel their anger, all their emotions into movements, into the craziness of the world around us. But if you can hold it within yourself and you can refine it through the process of realization of your own power, and knowing that life is a cultivation of self at the most fundamental level, then you can bring yourself into this world and you can share true, authentic expression of your power in relation to the world. And that's how real change happens. It isn't through commercial conglomerates and governmental bodies dictating anything. That helps, but it's not the end game. So we've got the south node here sextiling the new moon. We have the north node trining. We also have Chiron trining Venus in this new moon. And Chiron is the wound, and in Aries and the Solarian Deacon, it's the wound of the self and our own expression and the purity of the child within. So we're coming to realizations now, and we're going to be cultivating this awareness through release. And the release is in how we've done relationships, how we've related to ourselves, how we've related to the service of the self and what we've brought to others, what we've done in this world, how we've worked in this world, and how we have shared our harvest, how we have shared what we felt was valuable. Maybe our values may be changing as well. You may be finding a more fundamental, true expression of value from deep within yourself that you're bringing out. Maybe it's so old it's new. It's for other times and now we're bringing it to fruition here. We've got Jupiter here in your first house and Uranus. And they're both squaring Venus and the new moon. Now Jupiter is expansion. It's in the mercurial decan of Taurus. So the mind is expanding so that we can grow into new awareness. It's not easy because a lot of times without an understanding of where you're going or what is value, it leaves a lot of tension without form within us. And we have to figure out where to put it, how to channel that energy. With Uranus here in the Saturnian decan, squaring this perfectly, so our Martian values, you could see this Martian expression, the way we yang in this world, the way we come into this world as a being, a sovereign individual, we're doing it in a way with which we don't compromise the sanctity of our truth. If someone can't handle something, it's okay. That just means if it's a problem, it's their problem. They can figure it out. We don't have to figure it out for them. We're going to show them how they can figure it out for themselves by figuring it out for ourselves. So this is where the Promethean process is activated. And it's activated in this square through this trine to Mercury here. This trine to, perfect trine to Mars. and this trine to Pluto. So there's a grand Earth trine here, and it's building strength as Mars moves forward. Once Mars hits 25 degrees, it will be at its peak about, because of, there's a little bit of a disparity in the degrees here, but it's a reaching trine. So Mercury, the mind, the way we communicate, the way we think, in your house of self-expression, service to the self, how do you express yourself in a way which honors you, your unique individual expression, but also can be of service in honoring other people in their path and their expressions. Pallas Athena is coming into a balsamic phase conjunction with Mercury. Pallas Athena is higher mind. It is divine wisdom through divine intellect. So it is the power you can only have through perception. So you are perceiving the past in new ways, which is giving rise to an awareness that you carry a torch to show your cultivation in a way which honors you best. And so this balsamic phase conjunction is a new awareness of mind. And it's also in a balsamic phase conjunction, Mercury, Pallas Athena with Mars. So your passion for self-expression, your passion in the Venusian ways of service to self and others, how you have fun, your romance, your creations, your children, what you want to bring to this world as the polarity to the 11th house. How do you want to bring your individuality into union with the world? If you think of Aquarius, if you think of Uranus, if you think of the knowledge it takes to carry your own fire without giving it to someone else or dropping it. If you think of that, you can only come into union as an individual. It doesn't mean you got to step on anyone else to make yourself stand out. It means that you honor others by simply living in the golden rule, knowing what's best for you, and sharing that at the most fundamental expression. So we've got Pluto up here in the 9th, the house of wisdom. We've got Uranus here in the 1st house, your perceptions, the body, what you feel, what you sense, how you come into union with the world. And you've got Mars and Mercury here. Pallas Athena in the 5th, how you show up, how you express, what do you create with all that wisdom, perception, and power. So we're bringing to form new spirit, and it's in a new spirit which is in a balanced, more equitable, more reciprocal way. Now we've got Mars is going to be in a transformative quincunx with the North Node here soon. So that's when the catalyzation of what you do in this world, what spirit comes to you, what symbology is speaking to you, that's when it starts to really show up in your expression. And it's going to be subtle at first. I mean, you might get hit with sudden insights, epiphanies. But here in the 12th house, people can feel the destiny within us. They can see that we have something driving us even if we can't see it ourselves. And we are healing collective traumas through healing ourselves in these times. Pluto brings gifts to those who transform, those who work with their fears, with their emotions, those who follow their desires, even though it may not make sense. You make your mistakes wise and you move forward, and it brings you to a place which is in more balanced reciprocity with your true authentic expression. Now Saturn here in the disillusionment process, retrograde, in the Neptunian decan of Pisces, the unity consciousness, the dream, the vision, the friendships, the what we give to the world, essentially. And this is, think of it this way. When you're young, your parents are very strict, especially if they're young and they're new parents. They're instilling in you something they feel is very important in their life. And as they get older, they get more relaxed. Now you can see our society is starting to crumble, it's starting to fall apart, the Tower of Babel is starting to tip. this is when Saturn is reborn. And this is the process where Uranus, the Sky Father, the father of Chronos, time, of Saturn, gives spirit new life. So Saturn's being reborn in these processes, and so too is our traditions, so too is the societies. We can see our religions, our scientific achievements are essentially man-made constructs of old paradigms. There's some truth in it, there's something to honor in it, but we don't have to accept everything as it is. We are the change. So standing in that power is something that we are becoming aware of, and we're realizing through living our true authentic expressions. Now Neptune here represents spiritual growth. It represents the void. It represents potential, the ineffable. It is the surge of the spirit flowing through us, and how we interpret that, how we transform that, is part of our process in life, our cultivation. So it's good times, not easy times, but if you think of life as a cultivation, it doesn't happen in contentment. Alright, if you would like a astrological reading from me, go to my website and just schedule an appointment. Otherwise, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, listening, and being.